Hi guys. Okay, so in this first video, while looking at the topic of word processing, we're going to start with looking at the business letter. And as part of looking at the business letter, we're also going to look at the creation of a simple letterhead. And this is something which is integral to your word processing SBA, your upcoming word processing SBA component. Now, business letters, unlike the ordinary personal letters, have particular characteristics and things that will define them. So, one of the first things that a business letter that defines a business letter is something which we call the block layout. Now, the block layout simply means that all of the individual parts of the entire letter are on the left hand side. Okay, so if you notice, I have the individual's name and address. It's on the left hand side. The greeting is on the left hand side. Okay, the salutation, that's the closing salutation, is on the left hand side. The signature line, the name. So what you will typically find with a business letter is that the business letter is always written in block fashion. Now, even if the body of your letter is justified like this, so that both sides of the text is aligned with the left and right margins, the main factor of it, the main point of it, of the block format, is that all of your various parts of your letter are aligned to the left. Okay? One of the things that we have missing at this point is the date. So I'm just going to include a date in my letter. And an interesting feature that you can use if you're using Microsoft Word is that you can insert insert a date or insert a date and time, which automatically adjusts every time you open the document. So I can select, I can go to the Insert tab, and I can go over to my date and time icon, and I can select an appropriate format for my date and time, for my date that I want. I don't want the time, I just want the date, 23rd June 2020. And over here, you notice that it says update automatically. So I make sure that update automatically is checked, and I click OK. So essentially, what we have in our letter are our date, the recipient of our letter and his address. So the recipient is Beres Hammond and his address is Kingston, Jamaica. We have our greeting. We have the body of our letter. Okay. And then we have our closing greeting, and we have our signature line, and the sender of the letter, or whoever is signing the letter, has their name listed at the bottom. Okay, so this is our basic business letter. So one other thing that you will typically find in a business letter is a title. Okay, now sometimes many of you would have received letters from the school, you would have received letters from business places, and one of the things that helps you to instantly know what a letter is about as soon as you open the letter is the title. So the title of the letter will give you an idea of what the letter is about. So what I'm going to do is right below my address, I'm going to type RE, and RE stands for concerning. So RE performing at the 2020 St. Lucia Summer Music Fest. Okay, so my title will tell the individual receiving the letter what my letter is about. So I'm going to bold this and I'm going to underline it. Okay, now this is one particular feature of your business letter that does not have to be blocked. It can sit in the middle of your document, but all the other parts of your letter will be aligned to the left. Okay, so don't put your date and your address, the date and your recipient and your address on this side, and then your signature on that side. Everything is aligned to the left, not aligned to the left. Everything is located on the left, with the exception of your title, which can sit in the middle. So this right here is what we consider to be a business letter. Okay, also note that I do not have any indentation. So there's no indentation in business letters. With business letters, you simply start your paragraph on a new line. So we don't have any indentation. So typically with a personal letter, you might find that there's an indentation for each paragraph, and each paragraph has this particular indentation or whatever. With the business letters, we do not have any indentation. We simply begin our paragraphs on a new line. Okay, so that's your business letter. So now we're going to look at the other aspect of this video, and we're going to look at the creation of a very simple letterhead. And a letterhead, just like the title, allows you to know what the letter is about. The letterhead, once you open the letter, will instantaneously tell you which company or business place that the letter is from. So as soon as you open the letter, you will see the logo of the business, as well as the name of the business and the contact information for the business. So this is what we're going to be creating. We're going to create a letterhead that is that comprises of the logo of the business, the name of the business, and some contact information for the business. So let's get down to it. Now, at the top and bottom of your word processing document, there is a predefined space which is called your header at the top and your footer at the bottom. So the header is a space. It's invisible at most times at this point, but you can access this area in two ways. You can go to your insert tab and you can go across to these two icons here, header or footer. And once you click on the drop down arrow, you will get some preset some preset headers and preset footers that you can possibly use. Another way to get into your header and footer is to simply double click at the top or at the bottom of your document. So once I double click at the top of my document, you notice that I have this area which is defined by a dotted line and it's labeled header, and I have this area which is defined by a dotted line and is labeled footer. Notice also that your letter itself does not remain editable while you're editing your header. Okay, so while you're editing your header, your letter should not be editable. You will see it looking kind of grayed out. Okay, it's looking kind of grayed out at the moment, so we cannot edit it. So inside this header area, we're able to type. Okay, we're able to type inside this area. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to begin typing the name of the business. So I'm going to say that this letter is coming from a company called St. Lucia Summer Music Fest. Okay, so let's say that they have a permanent company created for this music festival. and I'm going to give it an address. So first floor, Shoreline Building, comma, Vide Bouteille, Castries. Okay, and since it's going outside of St. Lucia, West Indies. Okay, so this is the first part of my letterhead. So I'll put in the address of the company. I think in addition to that, I also want to include the telephone plus 1-758-458-6766. Okay, so you see something happen there. I'll explain that in a minute. Email, and we have admin at eventsstlucia.com, and we will leave it just like that. Okay, so if you want, you can put other information, but we're going to leave it just like that for the moment. Now notice that when I was typing in my header, it was pushing down the text on my document. Okay, so if I continued to type, the header would get increasingly bigger, and it would begin to restrict the amount of space that I would have on my document for the body of my letter. So that's something that you have to consider when you're creating a header. How much space do you actually want to take away from the space that you have to write your actual letter. Okay, so I'm going to just take back a little bit of space here. Okay, as now to get out of my header editing, I will double click on the body of my letter, which I just did. Okay, so I'm just going to take back a little bit of space here to make sure that my letter stays as one document. Okay, and then I'm going to I'm going to do this. So all I'm basically doing is just trying to make sure that my header does not, turn my document into more than one page, and if I want it to remain as one page. Okay, so we have our letterhead. Okay, we have our letterhead. So I'm going to, make all of this bold, and just to make sure that the name of the company stands out, I'm going to change its size to 14. Okay, so here we have it. Okay, now we have the contact information, the address and contact information for the sending company, for the company from whom this letter is coming. The next thing we're missing is a logo. Now I've already downloaded a logo for my company, and I'm going to insert this logo into my header just the same way as you would insert an image into the body of your letter. So I'm going to go to my insert tab, and I'm going to go to pictures, and I'm going to go to this device and search the location where I have the pictures. So I'm going to go to my documents. I think that's where I saved it, and here I have the logo image, and I'm going to hit insert. So I have inserted my image. Now the image appears to be big. Okay, it's a big image, and we need to do some things to the image for two reasons. One, to get it smaller, and also to prevent my letter from, again, as I said, being more than one page. Okay, now once you insert a letter into your an image, sorry, into your document, whether it's in your header or in your document, you get some additional, you get an additional tab for formatting the picture. Okay, and one of the things I want to draw your attention to, is this icon here, which is your wrap text icon. And when I hover over it, it says choose how your text wraps around the selected object. For example, you can have the text continue around the object or cross right over it. And there are some options in here. And as I hover over each of the options, you will realize that the text behaves a certain way in relation to the image. Okay, so the text behaves a certain way. So I'm looking for an option that will allow my text and my logo to coexist side by side. Okay, to coexist side by side. So I'm going to select square. Now another reason why you want to choose to wrap text is because when you insert an image into Microsoft Word in particular, in other alternatives like FreeOffice, you may not have that situation. But in Microsoft Word in particular, when you insert an image into a Word document, you find it particularly difficult to move the image and place it wherever you want. So the only movement you can give it is movement in accordance with your cursor. So you notice I can move it in line with the text, but I can't exactly just freely move it where I want it to go. Okay, I can't exactly move it to where I want it to go. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why as well you select wrap text, because when you select a wrap text option, it makes your picture free to move as you wish. So I'm going to select square, and when I select square now, I now have the ability to move. Notice that I'm moving this image freely. Okay, so let me stop moving it before I break something. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to reduce the size of my my logo so that it is able to sit inside my header again without creating a problem for space, because you notice right now it is infringing on my date, on my, so I want it to stay within the space that was originally set by the text. So I go to the corner, right here, the corner handle for the image, and I resize my image small enough. Okay, we could move it, so I'm going to make it small enough so that it can look good, but I don't want it to cut on my space. Okay, and there we have it. So I now have a header for my document with a logo, contact information, name of the company, and when I double click back on the body of my document, I can now go ahead and edit my letter. Okay, the footer is the same thing. Typically in the footer of a business letter, what you normally find is maybe the slogan for the company. So if I double click on the bottom of my document, I can type something like "Let her music inspire you," and I can bold it and center it, and that will be my footer. Okay, so I have my header and my footer. Okay, I have my business letter, I have my title for my business letter. Okay, and it's on one page. All right, so this is an important part, an important skill, something that you need to know how to do, like I said, going forward with your with word processing SBA. So I hope this simplified it for you, and you were able to see clearly how to go ahead and do this. Thank you for watching.